will bless the Lord at all times. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof, and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. Hello, I'm Sister Brenda Shipp, National Superintendent of Sunday Schools of the Original Churches of God. Highlight of Sunday School Lesson. Lesson 12, February 20th, 2022. People tend to rationalize why bad things happen. How do people respond when they are faced with tragedy, natural disasters, birth defects, atrocious crimes? Job remained faithful to God after several tragic events in his life, even while his friends questioned God's justice and Job's innocence. In the first chapter of Job, it says, "There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil." Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household. And then he had servants. So this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. Job was a wealthy man, but being rich did not turn him away from God. He acknowledges that the Lord gave him this wealth, and he used his wealth generously to do good. So Job had 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. Job's friends hurt him deeply. They were still his friends though. But when Job needed them, they came from afar to be with him, and they sat in silence as they empathized with him. Their mistake was thinking they had to explain Job's situation and tell him how to change it. One day Job lost everything. But they came to be with him. Job worshiped God, and he showed faith. Job's friends were silent for 7 days, and later Job wished they had stayed that way. Sometimes you wish your friends would stay silent. A wise counsel and comforter must listen with the heart and respond to feelings as well as to words. You do not heal a broken heart with logic. You heal a broken heart with love. In chapter 8 of Job, Bildad gives a brief theological discussion on the justice of God. He presented 3 logic arguments to prove Job is guilty, and Job counters with 3 painful questions to help his friends understand how perplexed and tormented he really is. It angered Bildad that Job even thought that God would do anything wrong. He had forgotten what God did to sinners at the flood in Sodom and Gomorrah. Isn't he the holy God? And doesn't his nature demand that he do what is right? Job was blaspheming God by questioning him and accusing him of wrongdoing. Bildad was correct. God is just, but his theology was wrong. Bildad was only looking at one aspect of God's nature, his holiness and justice. He had forgotten his love, his mercy, and his goodness. God is light, and God is love. Bildad was a traditionalist who looked for the wisdom in the past. In verses 11 to 13, if it doesn't have water, it withers and dies. Job was withering and dying. Then Bildad moves from plants to spiders. Can you lean on a spider web and be held up securely? No, of course not. No matter how confident you may be, the web will break and you will fall. Then he goes from the garden. If you pull up a plant, no matter how luxurious it may be, will eventually die. So Job's root system was fading away. Nobody pulls up a good plant and destroys it. So something must have been with Job. Bildad reaffirmed his earlier promise that God would restore Job's fortunes if he would only admit his sins and get right with God. So Bildad continues his argument that Job just needs to repent and return to God, and God will immediately restore his good fortune. By reading the rest of the book of Job, we find that this is exactly what happened. Even though Job's initial suffering is not from sin, Job does eventually sin by haughtily demanding an explanation from God. When he repents of this and submits himself to God's wisdom, he is blessed. This story teaches us that God is truly a God of retribution and immediate justice. From Job, we learn that God means what he says, that the wages of sin is death, but obedience leads to blessings. But it does not explain all suffering. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, and we never learn why. God never told Job why he had allowed him to suffer. Liberating lesson. The book of Job does not explain the reason for all suffering, nor does Jesus' explanation of why the man was born blind in John 9:3. What Jesus seems to be telling us is that sometimes we just won't understand. Yet, we have to trust that all things will somehow work to His glory and our good. While we are tempted to seek answers for the reason for suffering, what things should we ask of God instead when faced with suffering or injustice? We immediately feel empathy for Job. When we see someone sick or hurting, as Christians, we want to comfort them and help them. But we don't always know what to say or what to do. We can learn a lot from Job's 3 friends. They started out doing the right thing that is often needed most. They spent 7 days with him, not saying a word. This may be the greatest lesson we can learn from this wisdom book of Job. Often, this is what is needed most by those who are suffering. They just need a friend who will sit with them, mourn with them, comfort them. So this week, look for a chance to just give love, consolation, and physical comfort, such as a warm meal, rather than unwelcome advice, judgment, and opinions. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. Until next week, be blessed. What a friend we have in Jesus.